Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat as our next session, Pitch Perfect, the Tools of Persuasion, is going to start. Let's give a warm welcome to our moderator, Andreas Ioannou, CEO at Admirals. Andreas, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I'd like to, first of all, take the opportunity to thank everyone for attending, and I will give the chance to our panel members to actually introduce themselves, which I think is the most important thing. Just briefly, so you know what we're here to talk about. We're going to speak today about the CRM. I know that our title can lead us in many different directions, but what we want to really focus on is what a CRM really can do for a Forex company, and give the panelists the opportunity to showcase their experiences working with a number of brokers of various sizes to deliver what actually makes a difference to the brokerage by having a CRM that they can actually work with, that works properly, that is safe, that is consistent. And we want to touch on three areas mainly. The first area we will touch on is really the benefit of having an external provider that you can rely on rather than an internal created CRM. The next part will be the actual title. So how does the CRM assist us in making the client convert? Persuasion, to use our product, okay? And then we will touch on basically technicalities of infrastructure. So what do we actually want from an outsourced provider? And why do companies like ourselves at Admiral look at options beyond our four walls, as we call them, to actually work with different providers? I will pass on to Angelos, who'll go down the line to introduce himself and his company.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angelos Gregoriou. I am the CEO of DynamicWorks. DynamicWorks is a company that celebrates 20 years this year. And we've been in this industry since 2011, and more drastically since 2017 with our solution, Syntellicore CRM. We've developed a solution that covers 360 degrees of what a brokerage needs. And of course, we might dig into different aspects as we go along.
Okay, could you just, while we do the intros, and what sets you apart? You know, what sets DynamicWorks apart from the market? So during the intro, I want to give you the chance to tell us this unique selling point.
I'll tell you what makes us different. As I said, we are a 20-year-old company, so one of the main concerns of a brokerage to work with a CRM vendor is, the question is, are they going to be here in a few years? Are they going to last? So that's one thing that sets us apart. The second thing is that we're not coming from the financial sector, within the financial sector. We are technology providers. So we deal purely with the technological aspect of the CRM. We have gained a huge knowledge, of course, from the market, and we know the market very well. And we have people now that came from the industry. But what I'm trying to say is that we're not a spin-off of a brokerage. We're not, and we never had any financial injection from any financial institution. So that's another thing. Of course, there are other providers that have this privilege. And the other thing is that our solution was built from us through all these years. And as our name is dynamic, it's a very dynamic solution, and it allows for huge parameterization and customization, which is something that in the long term, it benefits the brokerage a lot.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. We'll move on to Rony. Tell us a bit about yourself. What does Optimove do, and the unique selling point?
So thank you everybody for coming. I'm Rony. I'm the VP Marketing at Optimove. Optimove is a company that focuses on CRM marketing. So we look much more at the side of helping the marketing teams at brokerage keep retaining their customers better, keep them coming back, and also acquiring customers that will have a longer lifetime with the brokerage. The main differentiator that we have is that we combine what is called a customer data platform with an orchestration engine to do the marketing for you. So marketers find themselves being a lot more efficient when they're working. They have the data of the customer at their fingertips without needing to write technical queries, without needing to wait for data teams to give them access to the segments and to the customer information that they need to then be able to activate it across any channel. So we will talk a bit later of how we integrate into the ecosystem of a broker and how we help them achieve the goals of growth and retention of their customers.
Thank you, Rony. And moving on to Maria.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maria. I work for PLUGIT as the general manager of the company. At PLUGIT, I would say what we're doing is we also offer our CRM, but we also offer a full suite of modules that pretty much give a broker a full solution, a full range of services that they can then offer on to their clients. And I would say that that's pretty much our unique point, the fact that we are kind of able to not only give you the CRM that you need to be able to take you from onboarding the customer smoothly all the way to back office side of things, but also be able to offer the additional service, which we believe actually brings in a lot of the services that allow you to be able to then convert those clients. So along the lines of MAM/PAM, copy trading services, the IB affiliation solutions that actually helps you work with your IBs and bring in and attract more clients, as well as even our bonus automation. I would say that all of these kind of add on as additional tools that complement the CRM to be able to help brokers be able to take customers, like I said, through the conversion cycle a lot more smoother. I would say that's our unique point.
Thank you. Moving on from Maria, we'll go into our first point of discussion. And Rony, I'll ask you to start, if that's okay. We're here to discuss how your CRM or how any CRM does a better job of conversion. We spoke about industry practices, and you can walk around the halls these 2 days and we'll speak with professionals holding similar roles to myself, where we're looking at budgets, we're looking at striving. What tools do you think are the most important to actually get that client along that journey and persuade him to trade with a specific company?
Yeah, I think that, when you're talking about conversion, or acquisition of customers, you have to think about 3 different stages. There's the first stage, which is how do I attract you? How do I even get the attention, and who do I want to attract? So one strategy is I'm just going to spread myself as wide as possible. We were talking before of being a bit smarter than that and saying, what are the sources that are bringing in traders that have long lifetime value, that stay with me, that retain, that come and go on for long, long periods of time? And the reason is, and I won't say the numbers, you can afterwards say the numbers because I don't tell other people's numbers by policy, but the reason is acquisition conversions are very, very low in our industry, and acquisition prices are very, very high. So targeting the right people is the first part of creating that. Now, how do you do that? I said before, we have, for example, what's called a customer data platform. You want to understand who are your successful traders, what products do they trade on, how do they look, and then run lookalikes or find them and push your new acquisitions into those type of buckets. The second part is how do I convert them once I have them? What can I do in real time to entice them to come back? What can I do based on their behavior to entice them to come back? How can I learn from what they're doing on my platform to keep them returning and convert them into recurring traders? And the third part is the lifetime, right? And we'll talk about that a bit later in terms of how do we keep those traders engaged and coming back to my platform. So conversion is a very large subject that you want to think about it strategically in these kind of buckets to succeed.
Thank you, Rony. That's a very detailed, very good introduction to our first question. I will go to Maria. The reason being, I wanted to explain how, in your opinion, a outsourced provider is better placed to assist a brokerage with going through these 3 steps.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and it's one that we see coming up multiple times. What we've seen with our clients as well, it's not just the startup and the smaller companies that can't afford to develop this for themselves that come to us, but you'll also get the bigger brokers, even medium-sized brokers, that you'll see that they think they can actually go ahead, develop in-house, find a solution for themselves and do it at a cheaper rate. I don't think a lot of brokers actually, they underestimate how much time and money actually goes into maintaining a system, keeping it up to date, making sure that even with the regulations as they're changing and the constant changes that we see in this industry, making sure that the product that you're creating is able to sustain that scalability. So it's all well and good if you're able to do it at the beginning and it's a smaller company and you're able to actually say, I can develop something for X amount of customers. But as you grow as a broker, as the requirements change, as the markets change, as the different regions that you service change, is your product able to keep up with those kind of changes? And most often than not, that's when we see the big brokers returning to us and saying, we had to scrap the project. It ended up costing us way too much. It was way too difficult to maintain, and coming back to the solution that we offer, which, as I mentioned, is scalable, is easy to customize, and there's no point trying to reinvent the wheel. And not only do they come back for one service, we then find that they'll say to us, actually, we see that you offer this other solution and another solution. And the fact that it's modular, it's easy to add on and move off according to whatever their requirements are, because obviously no one broker is the same. Your clients are not the same, and then also the services that you offer change from time to time. So why sit there trying to use up resources and money as well, trying to develop something that is a lot more difficult to maintain than it comes across? I think definitely taking off the shelf, as we would call it, is much easier, especially when you find a provider like PLUGIT, that is willing to work with you, that is willing to adapt their product and is willing to make the customized changes that they need that suit you, your region, and your clients.
Thank you, Mario. Very comprehensive and good. Angelos, I'll give you the chance also to comment on this. I know we touched on it in our debrief, and I know that you have an opinion on this and how Dynamic Works approaches this. It would be good to hear from you some case studies, especially as you said in your intro, you weren't from the finance world. So what does technology brains, technological brains, bring to the table when we work with a provider which, doesn't have their roots perhaps fixated on elements that people in management positions in financial companies traditionally have, which can lead them to narrow-mindedness?
When we are approached by a customer to offer our solution, first we try to understand what the past is and what they already have, and why are they looking for a CRM. Maybe they're a startup. Yes, what kind of startup? What is your target audience? Where are you regulated? We try to collect all this information so that we can give them a parameterized solution to their needs and make sure that the solution is going to make them successful and that they will see the value going forward. We offer different pricing models according to the size of the company, and we give them the chance to switch to and from. We consult them from day one in terms of what kind of modules and what kind of parameters they want to do. We try to understand what are their plans forward, so we can give them the insights of what this would mean in terms of time and cost in case that, or no cost, in case that where we have, or we have to develop something for them, which is rarely the case, because most of the times we have everything they need. We try to make them feel comfortable working with us, because when you're engaging with a CRM provider, It's like you're engaging, in the real world. We consider that these people came to stay with us, and we need to make sure that we have the right chemistry, and they need to make sure that they can feel so comfortable to work with us like one team. So the teamwork with the client is very important as well. Technology is there, everything is there. Whatever is not there, which is usually for existing brokers, maybe 2 to 3%, maybe it's not there, and for startup, everything is there. It can be, whatever is not there, it can be done, but people are making the difference. This is my opinion, and this is what we believe makes us successful.
Thank you, Angelos. I think to wrap up and to conclude, what we learned from our first question is that we can benefit from the economies of scale that you have, also the knowledge sharing from various brokers and your experiences, both from our industry and other industries, as I understand, especially. We can take strength and benefit our bottom line P&L by working with outsourced providers, because they do have that economies of scale, which incredibly we can't develop when we are focused on selling a specific product, which is pretty much all of us here today, CFD products. I think we'll move on. Maria, I'll ask you to go first on the next question. Our next question is around the infrastructure constraints. What do you see as an external provider being able to bring to the table which will benefit companies in this field over the next years with the challenges that come from infrastructure, both in terms of costs, but in terms of also managing and developing that infrastructure?
Yeah. Again, so this kind of touches again on what we were saying about no one broker is the same, their requirements are not the same, so why would you offer this just one set solution as to what it would be when it comes to their infrastructure, trying to find out how they want to do things, how they want to build things, how they want to set everything up, their procedures, their policies, how they will work. And again, what helps us to be able to define this is what kind of Angelos was touching on as well, with working with the customers, being able to understand their needs, understand what it is that they want to build with their infrastructure, and then being able to take it to the next level for them, because we have the team, we have the time, and the expertise. As he was mentioning, it's not very often that you find companies that have been working for 10, 20 years in the industry, have seen what your competitors are doing, and not necessarily giving away any secrets, but do have the ability to kind of consult and help and advise on how that infrastructure can be developed, set in place and scaled upwards, because we've done it before multiple times, whereas there's no need for you guys to sit there, play the guessing game and seeing what is going to work, what isn't going to work, when you can use us as partners to help build that infrastructure for your company.
Thank you, Aria. Rony, I would like to touch on an important point here for you, and how would you see the future working with CFD brokers and the CRM? What is the future? What are the infrastructure constraints from a technical manage? You, I know, have at Optimove big exposure to other industries, which also are very data focused. What do you do differently which can help us convince and persuade our clients to come and trade with us?
Yeah, I think that, and I apologize if my voice breaks. I was just saying that I ran out of voice yesterday at the trade show.
He was partying too much.
Party.
Tell the truth.
I was asleep at 10. So I'll say that the key for us across industries, and the key for data-focused brands across industries, is making that data accessible, making the data actionable by people who might not be as technical as their data peers in the company. The moment that you have a company or a marketing department, or that is needing to wait for someone to get the data in their hands, is a moment where you stop being effective and your competitor will win. Companies that use us understand that, and they come to us to say, we want to get our trader data in the right hands so that these people can accelerate the effects, the marketing efforts to bring them back, to retain them, to continue engaging them. So it's about getting historical data combined with real-time data. It's about adding predictive data to that. Do I know how do traders behave? What would be their risk of churn? What is their future value? Do all my traders behave the same? Obviously not. So how do I give an individualized approach to each trader's experience with my brokerage, right? Now, the future you were talking about and asking for me, right now there's this giant hype around the world of generative AI and what it's going to do, and is it going to replace us all? I'm a marketer, I'm shivering of fear that it might change me. No, it won't. The idea is using generative AI or using any AI technology to empower the people using the platform, the people needing access to the data. How can I make it easier for you? In the past, you needed to write a SQL query. Today, you need to do like a point-and-click interface, right? No-code tools, what they're called. In the future, you're just going to be able to ask this, right? Can you tell me who are my traders who are at risk of churn that have a high lifetime value? Here are the customers. Here are your traders. What should I tell these people? What products do they like to trade? What bonuses, what offers, what content have they engaged with in the past? Doing this as a conversation, as I just did, is what's going to allow your teams down the road to be much more efficient, and for, in that sense, to you to increase the retention of the traders on your platform.
Thank you, Rony. Angela, I'll give you a chance also to comment on this. And what's your company's approach in terms of analytics? I know we spoke about various modules of data and stuff. Give a chance just to kind of build upon what Rony had said. And how do you present it from an external party and convince us to give you the data? Because that's one of the main things that we speak about always. Do we even really want to give this CRM provider or this liquidity provider or anyone for that matter access to our database? It's something which is discussed in all the boardrooms.
Yeah, if I may comment also on the infrastructure perspective, not only the data. First, as I said, it's a matter of trust. Who is the company I'm dealing with? Has this company had any? Are they certified to deal with your data? Do they have their ISO 27001 to deal with your data? Who are the people composing this company? What is their track record? So you need to do some research to gain some trust on this company by maybe asking other customers what was their experience. I'm going to comment a little bit on the infrastructure, and then I can comment on the analytics and everything. Infrastructure, for how we approach the client from when we will propose, what should be their infrastructure. First of all, we offer our package in two different license models. One is cloud-based, so we take care of the infrastructure, and the other one is on-premise, so they take care of the infrastructure. You were talking about a big broker who is going to have a lot of traffic. From a economies of scale perspective, we might propose to them, because of our pricing, to choose their on-premise and help them to set it up and make it efficient and cost-effective for them, because we know what is needed. So when we propose the cloud solution, we deal with 4 different data centers worldwide. So according to the latency, we propose the right geographical location, and we have we offer redundancy through data centers and high availability of the systems on site on the data center and between data centers. So these are the things that we take care of in terms of infrastructure, and we make it meaningful in terms of economies of scale for the customer. Now, This leads me to how we handle the data for analytics and everything. So that's a different. It's a different approach. You don't use the production to create analytics. So our approach and new model for handling analytics is that we push the data to cloud-based specialized databases like Snowflake. I think you're using Snowflake as well. Similar solution, not exactly the same. So we're offloading the production and we are pushing the data to a specialized database backed up with a specialized business intelligence tool, and now artificial intelligence tools going forward for the production of the analytics. That's from a technical perspective.
Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else want to comment a little bit on how you handle the databases or the infrastructure before we move on to the next question?
I think you had mentioned before, I think Angelos even touched on the topic of that fear of handing over your data to your data provider or to your service provider is an important one. It really is a relationship of trust, and being able to build that partnership with a service provider to be able to feel confident that they have your best interest, because again, at the end of the day, you succeed, then we succeed. And it is that constant little niggle at the back of your mind, kind of thinking of, well, hang on, what's happening with my data? And absolutely agree with Angelos that service providers that are attached to brokers or have the same owners or such, it's never an easy solution, let's say, to feel comfortable with handing over that data and feeling 100% confident that you know what's happening with your data. So definitely service providers that are independent and are in the industry without any kind of attachment to brokers, obviously an easy solution.
I have to agree with Maria, that's always a consideration that any company would have. Moving on to our next question and a kind of talking point, there's been references made by all three of you in answering other points that we discussed about AI. Rather than speak here about AI and what is AI and where we're going with AI in the future, I'm with Ronnie on this one, let's see. But I want to speak about how you, as CRM providers, ensure that we're not discriminating against any users. As I mentioned to you all in our debrief, we as a company, vast amount of data tools at our fingertips, and we always get anomalies. Going towards an AI system or a system which is so dependent on norms or algorithms, how do you ensure that your CRM is not discriminating against any one set or group of users? I think I'll give Angelos the chance to speak first on this one because he hasn't had the chance to speak first yet.
Discriminating, meaning having the AI, let's say, promote X user as opposed to the Y user. Well, you have to test it very well and make sure it doesn't do that and train it very well. You have to create the right model, and feed it with the correct data, and then you have to test it and test it again to make sure that the results are fair and probably proof that without AI, by just doing it manually for a few cases and for some time, that you have a fair result based on your AI. And monitor it. You need people to monitor your AI and make sure that it's acting fairly, if this is the correct word.
This is the correct word. And Maria, would you like to further on the discussion there in terms of before AI? You know, you've been around before we were talking about AI. So what was the actual CRM doing? Because I feel like AI is being used as an excuse to kind of blanket everything that we don't really want to talk about with providers. They say, oh, AI will do it, but no one really knows what that AI is.
Yeah. And And I think a lot of service providers use the term AI very loosely and throwing out the term of, oh, we offer AI, full, AI solution for your CRM. And what does that actually mean? And what is actually being taken into consideration? And so I don't believe there is an AI solution out there that isn't discriminating. I think it's not that intelligent, or the kinks haven't all been worked out yet to be able to say that it doesn't do that. I definitely believe there is some form of discrimination, whether it's taking that data, overlooking certain customers, and the data for that client just didn't give you the full picture to say that it would be a lead that was worth looking at and thinking that it would convert. So yeah, definitely, I think there are situations that get overlooked like that. Now, what did we do beforehand? As Angelos was saying, I think a lot more on the manual side. And to be honest, I really do think that a lot of the CRMs, a lot of it is still manual on that. It's now then looking at taking that data and using it properly, intelligently, to be able to say, well, what can I get from this data? Where can I understand my user's behavior? Which lead is more likely to convert? And yeah, whenever you do that, whenever you kind of take the big picture and generalize on your data to try and box people into different scenarios of what they are and how likely they are to convert, you are going to get a few that fall through the cracks, like we were talking about, where you do get your random ones that sign up and you're like, oh, where did this come from? And you try to go back and analyze, well, where was the source and how did they sign up? And maybe it was an amazing salesperson. But no, it's never going to be perfect. And I do think a lot of it still depends on the manual side of your salespeople and your teams kind of looking at those leads and dictating what happens there, as opposed to just relying on AI.
Rony, just to take it one step further and advance the discussion a little bit, just conscious of our time to make sure we put enough. Optimove is more marketing focused, right? So when we look at that, could you just discuss and put a different spin on what both have said in terms of looking at it from the user acquisition? So the CRM there, rather than how it is filtering later, take it one step earlier, which I know is something that Optimove is doing, and guiding and consulting there. What is the future there in terms of more correctly allocating our acquisition spend?
Yeah, so I think that it starts again with what is the marketer trying to do? And usually marketers are doing four things. They're trying to understand who are their customers, who are their traders. They're trying to create better campaigns. They're trying to orchestrate these campaigns, and then they're trying to understand what worked, right? And it goes back in circles and circles and circles. The fact that you have an AI tool that can help you with specific use cases, and I think that this is what Maria was alluding to. You don't want something that says, oh, AI does everything. No, AI solves this specific use case. AI can help you predict what is the likelihood to convert of a customer, of a trader. AI can help you predict which is the best trader group for your next campaign. Yes. What are the anomalies, to your point, on the data? Yes. But you don't want just to blanket. Now, in the world of acquisition and in the world of retention, in my opinion, one of the most effective use cases of AI, and something we've been doing for the last 3 to 4 years, is allowing AI to decide what is the best campaign for each trader. What is the best campaign for each lead? How do you physically make the decision across thousands of campaigns, thousands of creatives? What should I spend? Where should I put my next dollar for Rony, for Andreas, for each person here? You physically can't. So you end up doing is you go to the average and you say, I think this is the best place. Now, today you can already let AI say that for you. Which creative is the best one for each customer? Which campaign is the best? Which channel is the best? At what time is the best time? And when you do it that way, then it becomes a much more personalized engagement and personalized relationship that you're having with those traders. So I think that's where we're at and that's where we're going.
That's really good. And we'll just wrap up on our last point is kind of a conclusion, which I think is really important and why this panel really exists, is why we come to you and buy your CRM. So we just go along the line. Like I said, I'll give 2 minutes each. Maria can go first.
No pressure. I emphasized this before while I was speaking as well. I believe it comes down to the relationship that you have. I don't think that everything fits everybody, and we do tell our clients whenever they do come to us, well, what are you looking for? It is this big question of, well, what is it that you need? What is it that you're looking for? And we're not going to be a fit for everybody, and we're not going to sit there and try and pretend that we are. So we definitely look at all our solutions, kind of give you a bigger picture, be able to tell you where we can and cannot help, and build that relationship. Because the other thing that we're getting from our clients is the innovation to also see what's coming next. What do you guys look for? What is it that you need? And we've actually developed a lot of our products working together with our clients that have actually come with ideas of their own and said, okay, well, actually we're looking for this, or we want to do that, and we get to develop things from there. So very much so on the trust side of it, very much so on the relationship that you build with us, and being able to be confident that you know that you've got somebody that's working with you as a partner and not just somebody who's going to sit there trying to hide all these different hidden fees at the end of the month.
Or just tell us that AI is doing everything. Ronnie, your turn.
Yeah, so I'll say again, right? If retention of your traders, conversion of your traders is a pain point, that's why customers come to us. That's why brokers come to us. That's why BD Swiss, CM Trading, Oanda, they work with us. They want to give their marketing teams the access to the data to accelerate their marketing efforts, to make them more personalized, to create loyalty with those traders, to be more engaging, and at the end of the day, build relationships with them so that they continue to come back and don't go to one of those competitors. I think that we've made a lot of different points here on how important it is not only to acquire the trader, but to keep them trading on your platform for years and years to come.
Thank you, Ronnie. Over to you, Angelo.
I was speaking with a colleague before this session, and I was telling them that I wouldn't want this, to panel to be like commercial and try to sell the product. But once you asked, I have to answer.
It's not you, it's them.
So I've got the chance to speak out now. So why should they come to us? As I said, we have a 360-degree solution when it comes to CRM and all the surroundings, with 120 integrations. So it's over 80, almost 90 PSPs, 5 trading platforms, 7 KYC systems, many VoIP systems, etc. So that it gives so many choices without any substantial cost for the clients in terms of integrations and who they want to work with for automating client journeys and for their call centers and everything, so they don't have to give up on existing technologies. We give them a very modular client portal that is customized to them, and we customize it even more if they need something different. We give them a native mobile application for Android and iOS to upload on their app stores with their branding and logos and make it yours. And clients can also onboard from those mobile applications. So we do the conversion and the retention through the mobile application if it's something that is the broker is something that it needs. We give them a back office and the CRM that is very comprehensive. It comes with millions of parameterization capabilities, from setting up the client journey to the questionnaires needed by the regulator, to how you want the payment service providers to be available for the clients, which clients, from what regions, from all these things. There is a huge engine behind it that allows us to customize it for each broker without having to write code every time, and a very strong affiliate system and IB system, multi-tier, which is probably one of the best on the global market.
Just to wrap up, I wanted to touch on one point and ask very clearly. As CRM provider, the broker is your client. But very quickly, when you're sitting down and researching and developing your system, who are you actually working for? The broker to make their life easier, or the client, the end client of the broker?
Both.
Where's the focus, Angelo? Because you're a big engine, big machine. Where's the focus?
It's actually a mutual approach. I mean, we work together with the broker, and we discuss with the broker the needs that they have for their clients. So we try to help them to serve that need the best way possible. And at the same time, we predict that in the future, the broker might need something a little bit different. So we make it dynamic, so they won't have to make any changes or develop something later on.
And what's Plugin doing on that, Maria? What's the stance there?
For us, we have had instances where customers have come to us asking specifically what they want with their blueprints, and this is how we want it to work, and this is how we want it to be developed. We have stopped and told people, well, honestly, from our experience, we'll consult, we'll help, we'll kind of give you our expertise to say, from our experience, this and this is how we've seen it, this is a better way of doing it, in our opinion. But obviously, at the end of the day, whatever it is that the broker needs, we'll go according to that. But we definitely do offer our 2 cents to be able to say, hold on a second, let us help you here, which will ultimately help your client at the end of the day as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. We're actually out of time. And yeah, Ronnie's not going to get a chance to follow up there. But
I'm saved by the bell, actually.
Thank you. Thank you all for your contributions today. And thank you all in the crowd for your attentiveness.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andreas.